I'm so happy to have Jose here. Jose and I have known each other for many years. I think he's my biggest fan online. He's constantly just promoting the conference. Come on up here to me. Doing everything he can on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for that. And this is the first time we actually meet in person. We've known each other for what, 6, 7 years maybe?
Just about, yeah.
And Jose was planning to come here in March of 2020 when all of a sudden, 18 days before, the world shut down. So this is the first time we're meeting, and I'm so honored to have you here, and thank you so much for coming. Please welcome José Coronado, Shifting from Demand to Connection. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, Hel, and thank you, everybody, both of you online and also here in the auditorium. I'm really excited to be here. It's been 4 years in the making, almost. When I was getting ready in February of 2020, I actually went to the doctor, make sure everything was good. I was checked, and my wife said, "What if they close the borders?" Well, before I even get the chance to get on the plane, they close the borders. So I'm going to talk to you about two things, and it's going to be I'm going to start in the low because there's a lot of bad things that have happened, but I promise you that then I'm going to give you a little bit of a light of hope. So the grim picture first. In 2000, for those of us who were already in the workforce, and many of you were probably just still in grad school or in grade school, or beginning your careers, but the 2000 dot-com burst. And what happened? Many companies that were the web companies collapsed, closed, and a lot of other companies decided to stop investing in research and development because the economic conditions were not there, according to their leaders. And what happens when the economy bounced back? They were not ready to meet the new demand that was required of them. So fast forward 8 years later, and Matthias, I think, mentioned the crisis in his economic chart. The 2008 real estate and economic crisis happened. What did companies do? Well, many of them learned the lesson that they didn't need to stop investing in research and development, but at least maintain the levels of investment. So when the economy recovered, they were going to be ready to meet the demands of the market. It was also an employer-driven market situation at the time, where basically employers drove the conditions of the market for people like you and I. And that created a particular situation and tension in every level of the economy and the society. And now fast forward 10 years later, or 12 years later, depending on how you want to look at the situation, and COVID-19 happened. I don't need to tell you how it impacted every one of us, but basically companies were forced to accelerate their digital transformation, accommodate people that were supposed to, or companies that didn't have a work from home culture or a hybrid culture or a flex culture, all of a sudden needed to accommodate every one of us to work from home in the middle of a very, very serious crisis in the world that impacted all of us. So companies accelerated digital transformation, and companies accelerated their investment actually in tech and digital because they needed to do that in order to be on float. Then something happens. People started leaving the workforce in throes. And why? Unfortunately, when you look at what happened, a lot of people left the workforce because they were caregivers. They needed to take care of people at home, whether there were kids or elderly or people who needed additional care. And the majority, at least in the US, from a demographic perspective, were women who were primarily impacted. In social media, you would read, "Oh, you just leave the workforce to create a new business." That wasn't true. There was no evidence of new business creation. It was more evidence about having to leave the workforce because you couldn't accommodate both keeping a job and taking care of your family. And then another phenomenon work in that short period of time where people decided to, or realize that work was not at the center of what you needed to do, but actually how do we take care of ourselves, how do we take care of our family, and how do we rebalance our work life and our personal life. And this reprioritization actually created another phenomenon that was quite contrasting to what happened in the previous crisis, basically it was an employee-driven market. And people were in a position to make certain requirements as part of their search. Are you accommodating hybrid work? Are you accommodating fully remote work? Are you giving me some flexibility so I can take care of myself and my family? So all these things created a very different dynamic that in the previous 10 years. And then the last 2 years, we see many headlines in the news. The macro level numbers, about 450,000 jobs eliminated in tech over the last 2.5 years. And unfortunately, the initial signs of 2024 are not that encouraging. Basically, we are on pace to exceed the 2023 levels. So the question is, what are we going to do about it? Or how do we start building, or I should say rebuilding together as people, as leaders, as designers? So from a macro level perspective, whether you are a freelance, whether you're a team of one, or you are a member of an organization, or you are a leader of a team, I just want to share with you some stories, some personal, some from people that I have worked with or that I have interacted with as recently as yesterday over dinner in the conference event. But I would like to basically give you something back, I hope it would resonate with you and it will help you look at how we move towards our future. The first thing that I would say is that leadership starts in the mirror. How do we reflect about, how do we give ourselves the space to reflect so we can understand what our values are, what our ethos is, and how do we show up? One story that I would like to share is that basically we are the problem, or we are part of the problem, but we are also part of the solution.
Jose, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.